Hello guys and welcome to a potentially new series on the channel. Just testing out the first episode, seeing what you guys think of it. But we are going to be taking a look at Married at First Sight Australia. And admittedly, I haven't seen the Australian version before. I watched the UK version for the first time last year. Boy, was that dramatic. I've heard this stuff even more dramatic. And honestly, just from like the little teaser that they put for the series at the start of the episode, absolutely wild and crazy. And I'm genuinely excited to go on this ride. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be tense. There's going to be plenty of dramatic moments to talk about. I mean, this episode had me laughing, crying, shocked, astounded, disgusted, all within the space of 90 minutes. So, honestly, I feel like this is going to be a good series. So make sure you are liking that subscribe button, hitting the subscribe button, pressing that like button, doing all them YouTube stuffs that you guys do so well so that we can continue to grow and we can continue to keep making quality videos that you guys love, apparently, which is still astonishing and crazy to me. Anyway, let's get straight on with the episode, shall we? So, I'm going to talk first about the stag and hen do's and sort of just some first impressions of people. I thought it was really interesting how the stag and hen do's are pretty much pointless. I'll be 100% honest. They're nothing but they're just a waste of time, if I'm being 100% honest. They're just a vehicle for introducing the men and women that we're going to be looking at on this series, and I don't know, I just felt like it was a waste of time. Like I said, this episode was 90 minutes long, which with like Channel 4 adverts made it like almost a 2-hour watch. So it was just a bit of it was just a bit frustrating at times, because I was like, can we just get on with the weddings, please? So let's talk about the stag do first. Richard is 62, the oldest sort of like participant they've ever had in the experiment, which I think is crazy. Jaden, he's got a strong face and he's a kickboxer, which I found quite cool. Simon is gay, but he was married with kids in his 20s, which I thought was quite cool. And it seemed like people were really supportive of him in the stag do, which I thought was really lovely. Sometimes going into that kind of environment, it's not necessarily the nicest for... Yeah, so I'm glad that they were really nice, and yeah, it was good vibes at the stag do. It felt, I can tell some of these guys are going to be trouble, but I'm hoping that there are some nice guys in there, even if there are some dickheads, because there always are, let's be honest. Heading over to the hen night, well, Natalie, she seems so sweet, and I really do just want to protect her. She's so lovely. She was like, I really want to meet a nerdy guy. Oh, if you can touch, type, and code. Ooh, ooh. And I was just like, oh, bless her. And then she went, I don't want a short guy. And I went, fair enough. Not many people do. Big up the short guys, you short kings. Fair enough. But my big 6-foot self, yeah, sucks. Anyway, moving on. Tori, she just knows what she wants. She wants the house, she wants the kids, she wants the car. She was very much like, I can only have 3 kids max because I don't want one of them ugly people carriers. And I went, do you know what? Fair and valid. That's actually fair and valid. Yeah, fair and valid. Next up, Lucinda is a creatrix. Lucinda is mad as a box of frogs. Genuinely, she's so funny. She went into the meeting when they were like, oh, what are you looking for in a partner? She brought out a scroll and it went down on the floor. It just went. And I was like, what is going on here? This is the craziest person I think I've ever met on one of these shows. What's happening here? But she did seem really, really lovely. And then Ellie walks in and I was like, Ellie looks suspiciously like Nat. Are they twins? I don't think they are, but they did look very, very like alike. They could have been sisters for all I know, but yeah, that was just something I noticed. And then Lauren was the last person we met. She loves red flags and she's got no age limit. She'll go for literally anybody with a pulse, which I found quite funny. So yeah, it looks like we've got a good band of people. It was interesting that they didn't introduce sort of the people that they highlighted in the weddings for this episode, which I thought was probably good because it means we didn't get like a double introduction, but it meant that we pretty much got to know the entire cast throughout the whole thing, which I thought was quite good. So yeah, on the whole, the stag and the hen do's were interesting, but it's time to actually get into the experiment and take a deep dive into each of the weddings. So I'm going to talk about Cassandra and Tristan first. The reason I'm talking about Cassandra and Tristan first is because theirs was far less explosive than Sarah and Tim's. Cassandra is potentially my favourite person ever. She has such a wonderful air about her. She's got such a lovely quality, and it was really hard hearing some of the stories that she was telling. She told the story of how her high school love, they'd been together for 8 years, and then he sadly died in a motorcycle accident. Broke my heart, and we weren't even like an episode in, which I thought was crazy. So that was a madness for one. Secondly, I was like, mad, her mum has died of cancer like in 2020, so she's just had a rough time of it. So she genuinely does deserve the world. On the other hand, we have Tristan. Tristan is a genuinely lovely person, crippling anxiety, and has some body confidence issues because he used to be larger when he was younger. They actually did him dirty because he was like, oh yeah, I used to be younger, and then they brought up the picture of when he was younger and larger, and I was like, there was no need for that. You could have just taken him at his word. You didn't need to show pictures. You didn't need to show reference photos. Come on. But he genuinely is such a wonderful and lovely guy, and I feel like he's the perfect match for Cassandra, or Cass as they kept on calling her, so I'm going to call her Cass from now on. Yeah, honestly, what a lovely couple. He got to the altar, he was so nervous, just making really awkward conversation with people. He said hi to his mum, and then he was like, oh, lovely weather we're having today. What's your name? Oh, what's your name? Oh, I'm really nervous. And then when the bridesmaids walked in, he was like, wow. Oh, they're not the bride. Fizzle sticks. I love when that happens. It's so funny. It really is absolutely hysterical when the bridesmaids walk in and they're like, no, it's not me. It's not me. Trust me, it's not. So, yeah, honestly, what a great start to the wedding. I actually thought this was a really beautiful wedding. Both of their vows were absolutely wonderful, and it really did just bring a warm feeling into my belly. And yeah, I feel like they are really going to get along. It doesn't seem like there's any problems so far. During the reception, there was actually some really nice moments. She called him the BFG, which was really cute. And then Tristan was introducing himself to her family and was like just so kind, caring and considerate, and really got to know everyone's names and really sort of dove headfirst in. And I was so happy for him. It was such a lovely moment. And then Cass's dad, Moddy, got up and gave the best speech ever. I was wetting myself. And then he brought it back and was talking about her mum. And then I was just like, oh my God, I'm just in floods of tears over this whole situation, because this woman has been through so much. This guy has been single for 7 years. They deserve happiness, and I'm so glad. I feel like on the UK version, the experts were really bad at matching people up. Like, there were some really good connections, and then there were just some, like, what were you thinking? Like, actually, what were you thinking? The one that springs to mind is Laura and Arthur. That was potentially the worst possible person you could have put with her, because she's so picky. So picky. Yeah, that was tough to watch. But so far, they've done a good job at matching people up, I feel like. So, yeah, I'm impressed with them so far. I think there's definitely improvement, but I think they're on a good track at the moment. It was also her 30th birthday when they were heading off on their honeymoon. So he arranged a present for her, got some flowers, got her favourite biscuits, and then they went away on their honeymoon. I'm excited to see what happens on their honeymoon because I'm assuming it'll be lovely and it'll be great. And it fills my heart with so much warmth seeing happy people on a show like this, because I just know everybody else is going to be fucking miserable. So it's time to talk about Sarah and Tim. Sarah and Tim had a very different wedding. Their wedding took place on a boat, which was weird. I don't know why they would do that, but here we are. Sarah, the way I would describe her is a pay for everything girl. She said that she went on a second date with a guy and he was like, oh, do you want to pay for this one? And she was like, why would I do that? And I just was like, oh, you're one of those girls that's like, oh, feminism, but you've got to pay for everything because you're the guy. It's not quite how it works. It's not quite how it works. No, sadly not. So yeah, immediately set me off on the wrong foot with her. But then the more I got to know about her, the more I heard about her past and sort of the way she is, I was like, okay, she is actually quite nice. Just because she has one red flag doesn't mean like everyone needs to get out of the ocean. Do you know what I mean? One red flag doesn't mean get out of the ocean. I mean, it probably does actually. But anyway, moving on to Tim. Tim seems like a lovely bloke. He wants to set up a school in Ethiopia because he has an Ethiopian sister that they adopted and he wants to make a difference in her culture, which I think is absolutely fantastic. He loves traveling the world. He can speak different languages, which I find crazy. And, well, I don't find the fact that he can speak different languages crazy, but just the whole situation was amazing. And he just seemed like a genuinely lovely guy. And then we met his best man. And I thought, uh-oh, this guy does not have good taste in friends, because this man has got the worst haircut I think I've seen in a hot minute. And secondly, he was teasing a best man speech that wouldn't go down well. And I just think, why would you do that on your friend's your friend's special day? Why? I'll talk more about it a little bit later, but like, oh, it was tough to watch. It was tough to watch. Anyway, moving on. The wedding was on a boat. Don't ask me why. Weird choice. Personally, I wouldn't have wanted to go on a boat for my wedding. That's probably one of the last places I would have wanted my wedding to be. And the first reaction seemed quite good. He was into her, she was into him. It looked like it was going well. And then they got up to the altar and he started speaking in Spanish to her. And she was like, "Rah, I'm Colombian. I speak Spanish. This is great." And he was like, "Yes, I have someone to practice my Spanish with. Woo." And I was like, Fez. Priorities. But it was interesting, and the whole wedding went off without a hitch. Their nuptials were lovely, their vows, everything. And then it got to the photos. They were necking on like that. It was great, good vibes all round. They get to the reception table and then she's like, "Yo, when was your last relationship? Ha 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 ha." And he went, well, we broke up 6 months ago and I was actually going to propose to her this year, but she cheated on me. And Sarah's like, is it Sarah or Sarah? I'll find out next episode. And she's like, oh, that's not good. Because obviously she knows what it's like to still be in love with an ex and constantly hold your partner sort of to their standard. So she was like, okay. And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to need your help. Ha 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 ha." And she was like, "What?" And he was like, "No, I'm joking." And then she was like, "That's not funny." And I was like, Tim, now's not the time for humour, because this girl's like, "Are you still in love with your ex?" He's denying it. He's denying it. He's denying the allegations. But she's sort of like, don't know how I feel about this. Panic stations now. What is going on? And I was like, Are you kidding me? This was going so, like, actually too well, to the point where I was like, something surely got to go wrong. And go wrong it did. Yeah, that was tough to watch, I gotta say. And then the best man speech. Let's just say he started off by being like, yo, Tim here. He's a science man. He is a science man. He loves experiments. One fond one that I remember is experiment 356 or something like that. Is Roadhead safe? Honestly, I would have punched him. I actually would have punched him. If I was Tim, I would have decked him and I'd have been like, sit your ass down. We're not doing this. We're not doing this in front of my new wife and her family who have only just met, and friends. But it just kept going and going and going. Rah. And then he finished off the little ha 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 best man speech with, and now on to experiment 865, aka Sarah. Okay, first off, kind of funny that he called her an experiment. Secondly, raw. You could not be saying that at my wedding. You could not be saying that at my wedding. What the fuck? Who the fuck do you think you are? Because you're not my friend anymore. You're going home. You're not even having food. I want you to regurgitate your food because you're not digesting it. You're not digesting it. Because what do you mean you've just baited me out in front of my family, first of all? Because I'm 95% sure most of my family would not have known any of this. Second of all, her family. Third of all, her judgy friends. Because her friends were judgy. Judgy. There was one friend. Judgmental. Oh, I was getting third-degree burns through the screen. I was like, madness, what's going on here? But yeah, it just really did feel like their work was cut out for them. And then we got a little look into their honeymoon. It was all going well. And then they sat down for a cute little dinner and they did a tequila shot. And she pulled a face and he went, what's wrong? And she went, oh, that's rubbish tequila. And he was like, oh, well, it's this brand. And she went, yeah, but it's rubbish. And then he was going to say something. And then he bit his tongue, was like, nah, probably not worth it. Probably not worth it. Which I was like, smart. And then she was like, what was it? What were you going to say? What? Huh? What were you going to say? What were you going to say? Until he said, like, I was just going to tell you to relax. And she was like, you don't tell a girl to relax. And he was like, but I didn't. But I didn't tell you to relax. I bit my tongue and I held it and then you forced me to say it. Honestly, what started out as such a perfect couple has kind of descended into a little bit of madness and a little bit of, I don't think this is going to work out. Yeah, tough. Honestly, tough is what I would say. I think, yeah, no, that's not good. It's no bueno. It's no bueno in the slightest. And I'm now very, very worried for her. But next episode, seems like we've got more weddings. If I do another video of this, I'll probably cover the next, like, 4 weddings, sort of, like, jam-pack them in to one episode, and then we can pick up with, hopefully, some more honeymoon. But, yeah, on the whole, very, very good start. 2 very unique, interesting couples. One of them I think is going to work. The other one I think is going to come down in flames. But I have faith, and people can work it out, I guess. So, yeah. If you guys did enjoy this episode, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all of that YouTube stuff that you guys do so well. And I will see you guys whenever I decide to do another one of these videos, which will probably be next time, or the time after, or the time after that. So, thank you guys very, very much for watching. Keep on ranting. I will see you guys later. Bye now.